सौन्दर्यलहरी कर्त्रे सर्वमङ्गलदायिने शङ्कराचार्यवर्याय यतिराजाय ते नमः। सौन्दर्यलहरी श्लोक 91। पदन्यासक्रीडा परिचयमिवारब्धुमनसः स्खलन्तस्ते खेलं भवनकलहंसा न जहति। अतस्तेषां शिक्षां सुभगमणिमञ्जीररणितच्छलादाचक्षाणं चरणकमलं चारुचरिते। For Padavibhaga, just look at the second line, first word, skhalantaha te. Then third line, ataha tesham subhagamanimанjīraranitachalat achakshanam. The other long words are not to be split. Anvaya, he charu charite padanyasa krida parichayam आरब्धु मनसः भवनकलहंसाः स्खलन्तः ते खेलं न जहति। अतः चरणकमलं सुभगमणिमञ्जीररणितच्छलात् तेषां शिक्षाम् आचक्षाणम् इव. After describing Devi's Pada Kamalam, lotus feet, in the previous few shlokas, in this shloka, Bhagavad Pada describes Devi's Pada Chalanam, the movement of her feet. Here Devi is addressed as He Charu Charite, one who has a beautiful character. Charita has another meaning, gait, that is a measured walk. So we can say, O Devi, you who have a very graceful gait. Then the word Padanyasa Krida Parichayam. Pada means footsteps. Nyasa means placing of the footsteps. Krida, the ease or playfulness shown in placing the footsteps. Parichayam, getting acquainted with that Padanyasa, footsteps. Arabdhu Manasaha, with a mind wishing to know and practice that gait. Bhavana Kalahamsaha, the swans living in Bhagavati's palace. Skhalantaha, although they slip and trip. Te, your Bhagavati. Khelam, the playful foot movements. Na jahati, they do not give up. Ataha, therefore, Charana Kamalam, your lotus feet. Subhagamani Manjīraranitachalat, chalat in the guise of, Ranita, the tinkling sound, Subhaga of the beautiful, Manimanjira, anklets made of beads. Tesham, to those swans, Siksham, instruction, Achakshanam iva, as though telling. The domesticated swans are said to naturally follow their caretakers or owners. In this verse, the swans are said to be following Devi herself. Those swans are said to be attracted to Devi's anklets and her very graceful gait. So, following her, they try to imitate her gait. In between, they slip, and yet they do not give up their practice. The tinkling sounds of the anklet beads seems to be imparting instruction to the swans on how to place each and every footstep gracefully. So the swans continue to follow Devi, trying to imitate her footsteps as though learning how to walk gracefully. This is the basic meaning. Let's look at the meaning implied according to Agama. Take the word Bhavana Kalahamsa. Bhavana means the Sri Chakra where Bhagavati resides. Kalahamsa, swans living in the Sri Chakra, will be the meaning of Bhavana Kalahamsa. In the word Kalahamsa itself, Kala means that which exists in the throat, Kantha that is in the unmanifest pleasing form. And what would that be? It is Hamsa mantra. This Hamsa mantra, which is pleasing to the ears, exists in the vocal region in an unmanifest form. So, Hamsa is the name of the mantra. One in whom this Hamsa mantra is present is known as a Kalahamsa. These Kalahamsas are also known as Chakradi Devataha, that is the governing deities or Adhishtana Devataha of the Sri Chakra, and they are 50 in number. Now these Kalahamsas will be known to those who perform the Sri Chakra Puja. Now how are they residing in the Sri Chakra is given by the compound word Padanyasa Krida Parichayamivarabdhu Manasaha. This compound word has a completely different meaning according to Agama. Here Pada means Sthana or place, and Sthana means the 14 worlds, Chaturdasha Bhuvanani. Nyasa means Srishti of these 14 worlds. So, creation of the 14 worlds is the meaning of Padanyasa. Then the next word Krida means sustenance or protection of the Padanyasa. So, Padanyasa Krida means the sustenance of the 14 worlds created. Parichaya means samhara or destruction. This word parichaya itself is derived from the verb root, that is dhatu chi chayane, which has the meaning of samhara also. Therefore, parichaya means samhara in this context. Now, the full meaning of the compound word padanyasa krida parichayamivarabdhu manasaha will be those wishing to gain the power to perform the activities of Srishti Sthiti Laya, creation, sustenance and destruction of the 14 worlds on their own, Swechaya. So this is the complete meaning of this long compound. It is known that only Devi or Shakti can perform all the activities. Here these Kalahamsas are desirous to gain that power. The word Khelam has another meaning. Khe means Akasha and Lam means Alam. So Khelam means always moving in space. They do not leave from the proximity of your lotus feet. That is, Te Charana Kamalam Na Jahati. In other words, until they gain such a capability, the Kalahamsas are committed to meditation on Bhagavati's lotus feet. Or you can say the Kalahamsas are engrossed in the meditation of Bhagavati's lotus feet. Hari Om. Saundarya Lahari Shloka 92. Gataste manchatvam druhina hari rudreshwara bhritaha शिवस्वच्छच्छाया घटितकपटप्रच्छदपटः त्वदीयानां भासां प्रतिफलनरागारुणतया शरीरी शृङ्गारो रस इव दृशां दोग्धि कुतुकम्. Padavibhaga is there only in the first word, Gataha te. All the others have Padatvam. We will look at the Anvaya. Te Manchatvam Druhina Hari Rudreshwara Bhritaha Gataha Shivaha Swachachaya Ghatita Kapata Prachada Pataha Tvadiyanam Bhasam Pratiphalana Ragarunataya Shariri Shringaro Rasa Iva Drisham Kutukam Dogdhi. Here Anvaya almost appears like the verse itself. From verse 42 up to the verse 91, Bhagavatpada described Devi's external features starting from her kirita, crown, till her lotus feet. Such a description is very appropriate for Saguna Upasana. In this verse 92, he describes Devi's Swarupa Mahima, that is the greatness of her form of appearance. Te, your Bhagavati, Manchatvam, the form of cot. Gataha, they have acquired. Who? Druhina Hari Rudra Ishvara Bhritaha. Druhina means Brahma, Harihi means Vishnu. The others are Rudra and Ishvara. These four deities have taken the form of the four legs of your cot. Then Shivaha, that is the Sadashiva principle or Sadashiva Tattva, who is the dominant Tattva, Pradhana Tattva here, has taken the form of Swachchaya Ghatita Kapata Prachada Pataha. Swachha, that which is very white, Chaya, shining, lustrous, Ghatita, made of, Kapata, in the guise of, Prachada Pataha, bed cover. That is becoming a very white, clear bed cover that can reflect any light or any color. Tvadiyanam, your bhasam, brightness, pratiphalana ragarunataya, as the reflection of reddish color, shariri, having such a body form, shringara rasaha iva, as though the sentiment of love, that is appearing as the shringara rasa personified, kutukam, enthusiasm, dogdhi, is creating. Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishvara have taken the form of the four legs of Bhagavati's cot, and they are bearing the weight of the cot. Bhritaha means bearing the weight. The fifth is the Shiva Tattva, that is the Tattva which is one with Devi, has taken the form of pure white shining bed cover. On that bed cover, the reddish complexion of Devi is said to be reflected. So, the combination of pure white bed cover reflecting the red hue appears like as though it is an embodiment of Shringara Rasa. Such an appearance seems to create the feeling of joy and kindle enthusiasm which is expressed in Devi's eyes, Drisha. It seems as though, how did a pure white bed cover get a reddish luster? Iti, Devi's eyes seem to be expressing a sense of curiosity to know. This is the basic meaning of this verse. And the matter explained here in this verse is also expressed by the words in Lalita Sahasranama as Panchapretasana Panchabrahma Swarupini. Now, one way of understanding this shloka would be Shiva is the form of pure, clear, shining space in the guise of bed cover, and Shakti is the crystal clear reflection having a light reddish hue, or you can say Shakti appears like lightning. Yet another understanding would be visualize Sri Chakra made of Sphatika Mani, crystal which is clear like space. On this is Shiva in the guise of bed cover. The reddish hue or luster reflected on this bed cover is Shakti. The Baindava Sthana in the Sri Chakra is the seat of Shakti. The rays emitted from Sri Chakra spreads across the 10 directions, taking the forms of the 8 siddhis along with bhukti and mukti. Thus, the complete body form of Devi for meditation is also implied in this verse. Then, Shiva Shakti Aikyam or oneness is described like this. That is, the 21 tattvas forming the body extend up to Ajna Chakra. Above Ajna Chakra are Maya, Shuddha Vidya, Maheshwara and Sadashiva, the four legs of the cot. Above that is the Sahasradala Kamala. On this Sahasradala Kamala is said to be the place of Sri Chakra with 4 doors. Like the pericarp of the lotus is the Sudha Sindhu in the middle of Sri Chakra. At the center point of Sudha Sindhu, Shiva Shakti Aikya is expressed in the form of a Bindu. This verse, when chanted many times, is supposed to bless the sadhaka with abundant energy. Saundarya Lahari, Shloka 93. Arala keseshu prakriti sarala mandahasite sirishabha chitte drishadupala shobha kuchatate bhrisham tanvi madhye पृथुरुरसि जारोह विषये जगत्रातुं शंभोः जयति करुणा काचिदरुणा. For Padavibhaga, look at the third word in the second line, Drishad Upala Shobha. Then third line, last word, Prithuhu Urasi Jaroha Vishaye. Then last line, first word, Jagat Tratum. Last word, Kachit Aruna. Anvaya, Shambhoho Kachit Keseshu Arala Mandahasite Prakriti Sarala Chitte Shirishabha Kuchatate Drishadupala Shobha Madhye Bhrisham Tanvi Urasi Jaroha Vishaye Prithuhu Aruna Karuna Jagatratum Jayati. In this shloka, Bhagavad-pada describes the significance of the pairs of opposite attributes seen in the bodily form taken by Bhagavati for the protection of the universe. Shambhoho, of Paramashiva, Kachit, some indescribable, Aruna, having the name of Aruna, Karuna, the kindness and compassion, Jagat Tratum, to protect the world, has taken the form of Keseshu, in the hair, Arala, having crookedness or curliness, Manda Hasite, gentle in smile, Prakriti Sarala, easygoing by nature, Chitte, in the mind, Sirishabha, soft like the Sirisha flower, Kuchatate, in the breasts. Then Drishadupala Shobhaha, beautiful by being hard, Madhye, in the waist, Bhrisham, extremely, Tanvi, slender, Urasijaroha Vishaye, in the chest and hips, Prithuhu, expansive and abounding. Seeming like this, Jayati, she manifests in a glorious form. Shambhu's expression of kindness and compassion is Bhagavati in personified form. She is known by the name Aruna. So, compassion and Aruna are one and the same. And Bhagavati is given the name Aruna because she is said to have the reddish orange complexion of the rising sun. Now, look at the word Karuna. This Karuna is none other than Aruna expressed or manifest. Now, the word itself, Ka, the syllable in the beginning, when you split it, it has K plus A. So, Karuna includes Aruna. In Sanskrit, the syllable Ka has the meaning of something to be known which is beyond the realm of description. Anirvachaniyaha. This means the Parashakti named Aruna cannot be easily known to anyone by words. And when any sadhaka makes an attempt to know her, then he can know Aruna as the personified form of compassion and kindness expressed by Shambhu. Arala means crookedness or curliness. Now the meaning crookedness gives the sense of a deformity in form, but the same word Arala in the meaning of curly hair locks, it adds beauty to Bhagavati's form, which means even a defect is a form of Karuna of Shambhu. Further, Shambhu's Karuna cannot become Manda or dull. So the verse combines Manda with Hasa, meaning joy. The combined word Mandahasa gives the meaning of a beautiful, gentle smile on Bhagavati's face. In other words, the defective quality Manda is transformed to a smile, enhancing Bhagavati's beauty. Sirisha is a flower known for its softness. It also implies auspiciousness, Mangala Suchakaha. This softness is expressed in Bhagavati as a kind heart, that is, a sensitivity to the Jiva's sorrows. So then she is Chitte Prakriti Sarala. The quality of hardness is also a boon. Here, Bhagavati's breasts are said to be hard, which implies externally the hardness is indicative that Bhagavati nourishes the devotees. Then internally, the heart is said to be full of kindness and softness like the Shirisha flower. Thus, the crookedness, hardness, dullness, which ideally cannot exist in Shambhu, are all transformed as good qualities manifest in the personified form of Bhagavati. Let's look at the word Tanumadhye. In the waist region is Manipura Chakra where Rudra resides. So in matters concerning Bhagavati, Rudra's Raudra Bhava, emotion of anger, is reduced to a minimum. And this is the meaning implied here by Tanumadhye. In other words, in an embodiment of kindness, the words Tanumadhye is an expression that the anger is minimum. सौंदर्य लहरी श्लोका 94 कलंकः कस्तूरी रजनिकरबिंबं जलमयं कलाभिः कर्पूरैः मरकतकरण्डं निबिडितम् अतस्त्वद्भोगेन प्रतिदिनमिदं रिक्तकुहरं विधिर्भूयो भूयो निबिडयति नूनं तव कृते. For Padavibhaga, please look at the third line, first word. Ataha tvadbhogena. Then the next word, pratidinam idam. Line 4, first word, vidhihi bhuyaha bhuyaha. Now Anmaya, he Bhagavati, kalankah kasturi rajanikarabhimbam jalamayam kalabhihi karpuraihi nibiditam marakata karandam ataha idam pratidinam tvadbhogena riktakuharam vidhihi bhuyaha bhuyaha tavakrite nibidayati noonam. In this shloka, Bhagavad Pada very vividly describes the Tambula Petika, the box for storing betel leaf and its contents, and he also says who is filling it up. Kalankaha, the dark spot seen in the moon. Kasturi is the fragrant edible substance eaten with betel leaf called musk. Kalankaha is Kasturi. Rajanikara Bimbam. Rajanikara is the moon and Bimbam is the reflection. This is Jalamayam, water. In this context, it is scented water, meaning Paneer. Kalabhihi, the waxing and waning of the moon, are Karpuraihi, pieces of refined camphor, what we call Pachakarpuram. We all know that Pachakarpuram is consumed by adding it to sweets. Marakata Karandam means box made of emeralds. Here Chandramandalam is the box and this is Nibiditam, filled with Kasturi, Karpuram, Paneer, etc. Ataha, therefore, Twadbhogena, because you Bhagavati are consuming them, that is Devi consumes tambulam with kasturi, paneer, karpura, etc. Pratidinam, every day. Idam, this Chandramandalam which is visible to me, Rikta Kuharam, it appears to be empty on the inside, and that Vidhihi, Brahmaji, Bhuyah Bhuyah, again and again, that is every day, Noonam, undoubtedly, Tavakrite, for you, Nibidayati, he fills it. The words in this verse are mentioned in such a way that an identity is drawn between an object in nature with that of objects held by a live person. The disk of the moon, Chandra Mandala, is supposed to be Bhagavati's beetle box. The dark spot in the moon is said to be the Kasturi in the beetle box, which is musk. The shadow or reflection of the moon is Panneer. The Chandramandala itself is said to be the Marakata Karandam, emerald studded beetle box. The parts or digits of the moon is pieces of edible camphor which is in the beetle box. Now this beetle box becomes empty every day and is said to be filled again and again by Brahma. In the fortnight leading to new moon, the waning digits of the moon are clear like water. So they are said to be bits of camphor. Just like the digits of the moon are waning, camphor bits are getting consumed by Devi. Brahma is said to be refilling the beetle box, which is the Chandramandala here. Because it is Devi's beetle box, it is studded with emeralds, Marakata Karandam. Now, visualize a Vishwarupa Darshana of Devi like this. That is, this universe, Brahmanda, is Devi's home. The upper world, Urdhvanda, is Akasha or space. The mountains, Meru Parvata, etc., are places she traverses. The stars are the pearl chain adorning Devi's neck and chest. The divine beings Indra, Varuna, etc., are Devi's grandchildren. Brahma and others are Devi's children. Sun is the lamp lighted in Bhagavati's home. The moon is identified with Devi's beetle box. Kasturi is identified with the dark spot in the moon. The moon's shadow is the scented water. The waning digits of the moon are the bits of camphor. Like this, if the universe is looked upon as Devi's home, then the rest of the explanation fits into it beautifully. A verse from Smriti praising Shakti is Yadadityagatam tejo jagad bhasayate akhilam yat chandramasi yat chagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. This verse denotes that all that exists is a manifestation of Shakti or Bhagavati. Saundarya Lahari, Shloka 95. Puraraterantah puramasi tatastvatcharanayoho saparyamariyada taralakarananama sulabha tathahyete nitaha shatamakhamukhaha siddhimatulam tava dwaropantastithibhiranimaadyabhiramaraha. Padavibhagah Puraratehe antahpuram asi tataha tvat charanayoho saparyamariyada taralakarananam asulabha tatha hi ete nitaha shatamakhamukhaha siddhim atulam tava dwaropantastithibhihi animadyabhihi amaraha. Now, Anvaya, He Bhagavati, Purarater antah puramasi, tataha tvacharanayoho saparyamariyada taralakarananam asulabha. Tathahi ete shatamakhamukhaha amaraha tava dwaropantastithibhihi animadyabhihi saha atulam siddhim nitaha. यथा तव द्वारोपान्तमेव अणिमादिसिद्धयः सेवन्ते एवम् इन्द्रादयः अपि. A few words were added to the Anvaya just to give a more complete meaning in the prose form. In this shloka, Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada has described very clearly that not everyone will be fortunate to worship Devi from close proximity. Puraratehe, arati means shatru, enemy. Pura arati means one who destroyed Tripurasura, which means Lord Shiva. His Antavpuram, primary queen, that is Pattadarani. Asi, you are, which means Bhagavati is part of Sadashiva's Ardhangi, the principal queen. Ataha, that's why, Tvacharanayoho, to your feet, Amaryada, fully or completely. Now the word Maryada means a measure or a boundary, like saying up to here, here to here, this much, etc. So Amaryada means without a limit, all inclusive. Saparya means method of worship. Tarala Karananam, for those who have a very wavery or unsteady thinking mindset, Asulabha is almost impossible or difficult or not easy. Tathahi, how means Shatamakha Mukhaha. Shatamakha means Indra. It is said that one who successfully completes 100 Ashwamedha Yagas, he will attain the status of Indra. It is a Indra Padavi. Shata means 100, Makha means Yaga. So Shatamakha Mukhaha means Indra and other significant devatas. Tava, your Dwaropanta Sthitibhihi, those who reside very close to the entrance doors all the time. And who are they? Animadyabhihi. Anima, Mahima, Garima, etc. The 8 siddhis. Atulam, that which cannot be compared with, or Aparimitam, beyond measure, immeasurable. Siddhim, the siddhis, Nitaha, they have obtained. Even Indra and other devatas are said to be not fit enough to worship Devi from very close proximity because they have a wavery mindset. That's why it is said that they left after gaining the 8 siddhis from the siddhi devatas who are serving close to the doorway. Sadashiva is embodiment of knowledge, Jnana Swarupaha, and his prime queen is Bhagavati. Getting an opportunity to serve such a great Bhagavati is not within the reach of everyone. This is described in the form of a brief narration. Indra and other devatas, it is said, they went to Bhagavati's palace with the intention of serving her. That is, they wanted to worship her. At the doorway were the 8 Siddhi devatas, and they questioned Indra and the other devatas about the purpose of their visit. Now, Indra and the others said that they desired to gain unthinkable powers by offering worship to Bhagavati. The Siddhi Devatas stopped them right there, saying, "You are all used to the pleasures of heavenly living and do not have control over your senses. Therefore, there is no way you can go near Bhagavati and worship her directly. That requires Jitendriyatva, complete control over the senses. Yet, since you all have come this far, we will bless you with immeasurable siddhis, that is, extraordinary divine powers." So, Indra and the others, satisfied having gained the 8 siddhis, they are said to have returned to their abode. Now, this is the meaning implied in this verse. Now, this verse suggests that A devotee in quest of self-realization through worship of Devi meets with intermediate worldly siddhis, that is Laukika siddhis, supernatural powers. Once he is carried away by them, his progress is halted and his goal is missed. Like the Siddhi Devatas, he has to stay at the doorway with them and he cannot reach the interior of Devi's abode, which is moksha.